let's get down to business, JK, talking about action from the past weekend. The key question, I think, in everybody's mind in horse racing, and it sounds like we're going to have an answer sooner rather than later from trainer Kenny McPeek. Should Thorpedo Anna run in this year's Travers Stakes? We're going to answer that question definitively, by our reckoning anyway, in a few minutes' time. But I think the best way to answer that question is to look back a little bit at action from last weekend. And hey, if that's the question we're trying to answer, and this won't make sense to those of you watching this in audio, but if you're with us on the YouTube side, you can now see on screen Thorpedo Anna, after that slightly tardy beginning, which apparently did give her a little cut on the leg. We'll see what she did in the CCA Oaks. The phrase I like to use, JK, for a performance like this, Thorpedo Anna, imperious in victory. It's a very polite way of saying she kicked their tails in. Give us your thoughts. How impressed were you? You were skeptical going in. You picked against her. How do you feel coming out of the CCA Oaks about Thorpedo Anna? We'll start by just talking about her and how she fits in this division as she zooms to the front in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, I mean, look, she was outstanding. She disposed of this group. She's been disposing of all the 3-year-old fillies. Her ears are just flicking back and forth here. Brian Hernandez watching basically like the rest of us on the Jumbotron to see her performance. She did start a little tardily and overcame a little adversity there, rushed up. I thought she was outstanding. I thought she was really, really good, and lots to be proud of. Richie Migliore says it best. He says that, you know, she's one of those horses that makes him feel 10 years old again, where he fell in love with the game, finding a horse like that that's just such a superstar who you know, kind of just disposes of her competition. I think she's outstanding, and I think that the idea of her running in the Travers is a sporting idea that sounds like a ton of fun to see these situations. We haven't seen it in a while. I think actually Kenny was the one who probably provided it with us last, with Swiss Skydiver running in the Preakness. But whenever you get these fillies dominating their division and coming over to the boys, it's always an exciting thing for the fans.
And as easy as the win was, I don't know, I still think when you break like that, when you have something physical happen to you in that moment and you still win as easy as pie like that, I give a little bit of extra credit. You know, it's not just that flat track bully phenomenon we've talked about and we see sometime where a horse is just so much better than their competition that they can dominate under the right circumstances. I'm looking at you, Fierceness, but we'll be talking about him a little bit later on in a different video if you're watching on YouTube, and later in the show potentially as well. But I give a little bit of extra credit for that. Is that fair?
Yeah, sure. I think it's fair to give some extra credit. But I think that kind of brings me to my next point is, you know, in the Coaching Club American Oaks, she ran a 94 by her speed figure. She ran a 95 by her speed figure in the Kentucky Oaks without a straw in her path. She ran a 99 in the Acorn with a very nice, comfortable, easy trip and a target, and just FYI. She's starting to feel like a high 90s type of horse to me. And if she's going to be a high 90s type of horse, I cannot wait to bet against her in the Travers.
Well, you haven't answered the definitive question yet, and I'm glad you haven't, because I think we have to look at a couple of other things first. And Kenny McPeek has been very clear. He wants a little bit more research on the competition. Some of that's going to happen in the Jim Dandy, which we'll get to on this channel in other spots. But we can also now, having the Haskell Stakes Grade 1 action, winning your in action for the Breeders' Cup in the books, we can look back to that and at least make some sort of an assessment of how she fits against this crew, this race. And I don't have the video teed up for it, so we'll just talk it through. But and also, I don't particularly want to relive it as someone who bet Mindframe. Dornoch once again gets the victory. This is a tough horse. He has a lot of qualities we prize in racehorses. He's got that good attitude. He obviously likes to win, proper fighter, fast horse, good horse. But coming in, as they come out of the turn here, you know, Mindframe makes one of those moves, not unlike the Belmont Stakes, where on his own courage, basically makes his way to the lead. The phrase I would use is he's traveling all over Dornoch at one point where the button is starting to be pressed. But once again, not quite as dramatic as the getting out 4 lengths in the the Belmont, but once again, just doesn't want to run in a straight line. He gets hit left, he goes left. He gets hit right, he goes right. He doesn't have that straightforward attitude. In the end, can't go by when it looked like he was going to win for fun. I mean, a lot of ways, it's the Belmont redo. I felt very silly after the fact. Credit to Dornoch, but I can't shake the feeling that Mindframe threw away another one. Am I being too harsh on Mindframe?
No, I don't think you're being too harsh that he threw one away. And I think that if we're going to focus on kind of what's next for these horses, I think when you look at Mindframe, he's run back-to-back 101 Beyer speed figures, and he's done it in a goofy way. Let's see if Todd and Irad can get that corrected. But like I said, in a goofy way, he's done 101s, which is faster than anything Thorpedo Anna has done. Dornoch, he's run 103 and 101 in back-to-back races, and he's done it gritty. And he feels like a horse that might not ever let a horse pass him again the way that he's run. I think that a lot of what's happened to Mindframe has a lot to do with who Dornoch is. And then you got to look at horses like Unmatched Wisdom, who ran in the Curlin on Friday, and Sierra Leone, who's going to run in the Jim Dandy on Saturday. I just feel like, and we'll see what Fierceness does as well. It just feels like, while I believe Thorpedo Anna should run in the Travers, I hope she runs in the Travers. The Alabama will be a better race if she runs in the Travers. I think she is a great opportunity and one of the best opportunities we've seen this year for a bet against, because she's going to be 5-2 into the teeth of 4 to 5 horses that are faster than her. I like Dornoch a lot. I still going to give Mindframe a chance, and I'm very curious to see what happens this weekend in the Jim Dandy. But for me, yes, she should run. And no, I will not bet her.
There it is. Before we get out of here, though, I do want to pause another second on Mindframe. What would you do with him? I mean, it feels like Blinkers is an absolute no-brainer to try, but he doesn't look like a horse for whom more ground is going to be his friend necessarily. You think you would proceed on to the Travers with him as opposed to maybe recalibrating a course that would end up in a race like the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile?
Yeah, I mean, I think you take a shot in the Travers, see if you can't get things fixed, see if the 1.25 miles a second time gives him a little bit of a better situation. And then if that doesn't go well, then I think you work backwards to the Dirt Mile, bring him back as a 4-year-old and see what he wants to turn into. But I'm not ready to completely give up on him.
Want to give a thank you to our sponsors for this video, winnercircleproxy.com. Go to winnercircleproxy.com/ITM and get ready to compete for $16 million in guaranteed cash prizes up for grabs in the world's biggest NFL contest at Circa Sports in Las Vegas. 2 exciting ways to play Circa Survivor and Circa Million against the spread with Winners Circle Proxy. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3 to play. Go to winnercircleproxy.com/ITM. Sign up to get more information. You've got to schedule a trip to Circa to sign up before September 7th. But then Winner Circle Proxy takes care of it. You can make your picks anywhere in the world and compete for your share of $16 million. Visit winnercircleproxy.com/ITM. Book your appointment today. Make sure you tell them your friends from In the Money Media sent you. Lots of action to look forward to, JK, coming up in terms of the NFL, and lots of action to look forward to in terms of horse racing. You mentioned we've got the Vanderbilt and the Jim Dandy coming up this weekend. We're going to be covering those elsewhere on the In the Money Media Network. Also, shout out to us. We just had our 2 millionth view on YouTube. The march along continues to 10,000 subscribers. I still say, if everybody just watching this video signed up subscribed, I should say, to our YouTube channel, we'd be there, boom, lickety split in the blink of an eye, because I know we get new people in every video. I look at the stats. Help us out. Subscribe to this In the Money YouTube channel so we can add to the hardware collection behind me, one of those YouTube Creator Awards. Before we close out this video, JK, any closing thoughts on Thorpedo Anna and the rest of this 3-year-old division?
Runner, Kenny. I even said that if she wins the Travers, I'll get a Thorpedo Anna tattoo.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah, I'm not convinced that she's not going to acquit herself well just based on class. I can't disagree with your sentiment that when you have a horse who's going to be the favorite, who's not as fast numerically as the competition, that you're probably supposed to bet against her, but it's not like I'd fall out of my chair if she were to get the job done. You may have to find some skin to open up for that Thorpedo Anna tattoo, and looking forward to seeing how it all plays out Kenny McPeek says he's going to make that decision after the Jim Dandy this weekend, assuming nobody runs off the screen, runs a hole in the wind. I think we know how he's leaning. Such a great sporting horse trainer is Kenny McPeek. We'll see how it all turns out when we get that information as soon as next week.